Good, good. Good to see you. Yeah, yep. All right, so I've arrived at the Fair Lawn Amateur Radio Club, and we'll start recording inside and see how things go for the night.
Animal life or something like that.
It was great for me when I was working doing accounting.
I got this thing backwards.
And, like getting construction and stuff, so like having a bigger screen was a lot better for clients.
Yeah,
to track.
you're sitting there trying to do a spreadsheet on a radio.
Yeah, I was working from the field the whole time, so if I had to keep carrying the laptop, when I got the phone, it was big enough for me to see, to read, to do what I got to do.
Yeah, that's good.
And so it simplified my life. Yeah, the only regret I had after that was I didn't buy it. That was it. And now the new ones they got coming out just keep getting better and better.
Now, how's that versus like having a little tablet, like a little iPad?
We had a tablet, right? So the company, but they gave me like iPads, and I'm not an Apple user anyway. Like I am great with technology until you put an Apple product in my hand, and then I'm just like the foundation, like not good. But I mean, I figured out they gave me like they always used Apple phones and whatever. But I've been an Android user, PC master race forever. So cool. Yeah. But now I know Apple's getting a foldable. They're gonna have one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then
It'll only cost $500 more.
Yeah. all the screens they use come from Samsung. So.
It's okay. I mean,
So this is the Fair Lawn Amateur Radio Club. Pretty cool place.
Operate like this. You don't have to operate like this no more. I was telling Brian, no more mix.
Blogging. Hey, I blog. Pretty cool. These are all the stations. Pretty cool place. This is the antenna room.
nurses are always complaining about the
I don't think we
ergonomics.
have expected to be in one.
So why don't you ask him?
Yeah, I will be coming tonight.
What's going on, brother?
Good, good. How are you?
He was here too.
¿Qué hace?
All right. Blogging.
He already made his first two contacts.
Very cool. Very, very
was
cool.
Puerto Rico, and then second was Idaho.
Very nice.
And we did get to hear it when we turned it on. It was somebody in Uruguay. So.
And we're here getting ready for tonight's presentation. We have a guest speaker from the ARRL. So it'll be a very, very good, interesting evening tonight. They're just setting up right now. Center for the Arts. That's the name of the building. And here we go back again into the club.
When he comes in, he's got one on this arm, and he's got a Mickey pop on the other arm for his
Here you have a QSL card for somebody that loves Volkswagens and rockets.
Very, very, very cool. Very cool.
In fact, one day I got to figure out how to combine them and put rockets onto Volkswagen.
Would you like to see back, love?
No, I gotta.
Oh, you haven't
leaving?
seen the meeting?
I couldn't start. Yeah, I told you.
I thought it a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Do you want me to call your wife and get permission? To see Jen?
And we're at W2MPT, the Fair Lawn Amateur Radio Club.
I got to remember. Hey,
And
email.
here, you did.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. When?
I don't know, about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh, I haven't looked at my email since since 4 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, I just worked it. What time were you here?
Oh, I wasn't here today. Here.
Hey.
Hey, Noel.
Look at you, man.
That's what I've been working on. 10
Busy
meters.
guy. You're a busy guy. A lot of Brazilians.
Yeah.
A lot of hands
You
in
notice?
Brasilia.
That's right. When
In
you asked
Brazil.
me what's going on in South America,
Wow, there's a lot of hands in Brazil.
look,
So now you
That's because
it's a big country.
Me, what is stuff?
Didn't you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, now and stuff and listen to it. Well, the video game said a million times that I died of dysentery playing the Oregon Trail.
What happened to our other garbage can?
I don't know.
We had 2 cans there at one point.
Yeah, Tuesday.
So this is the famous
Don't it?
Gene.
You're asking me for the 150, so I'll send it to you.
We go away with that camera.
It should.
People with cameras are dangerous, aren't they?
That's you. See? No, I'll request 150.
So how do I put Roger on here?
No, because he could have done it. He could have sent it to you, but we didn't know which.
How do I get him on here?
Oh, we're here at the Fairlawn Club, and everybody has basically vacated. They're on their way to the auditorium for the presentation this evening. So it's in the auditorium.
I can't do that to you.
Here we go.
Okay, you're right. You got no food to drink.
Yep. I'm going to go over here and sit with Bruce, get a good view. Huh? I don't.
Here and those via Zoom. I promise you we're going to have a very interesting evening. But before we start, let us please stand and salute the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I know that the business meeting per se will start at 7:30 or whatever time our guest needs. That's fine. Even we have to start a little bit later. But before that, Mr. Secretary, can you please do a roll call?
Thought that was the beginning of the business. All right, roll call. President's here, secretary's here, vice president's here,
Secretary Treasurer.
trustees here.
So we do have a quorum for late. That's why I mentioned before that I wanted to take the roll call, but we will start the business meeting at 7:30.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. No, my bylaws is 7:30 or a little bit. So, friends, I'm very pleased to bring up to the stage this evening a very dear friend. We had the opportunity of working together, both as director and vice director for the Hudson division of the ARRL. We are still working today together, him as our director, and also me here as, today I'm wearing the hat of president of Florida, but also as the section manager for Northern New Jersey. We have become good friends, part of my ham radio family, and it has been very active with things to benefit and to help through ARRL, our membership, and also, especially I know it's one of his priorities, which is youth. And he has demonstrated his abilities on this and many other things that are benefiting our division, and with that, benefiting our section. So without further ado, my dear friend Ed Wilson and 2XDD, who has come to join us here today in Fairlawn, and let us know what's going on at ARRL. So, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Omar, thank you very much for the very warm welcome. It's my pleasure to be here at Fairlawn. I'm Ed Wilson. For those of you who don't know me, I'm November 2 X-Ray Delta Delta, and as Nomar said, I am the Hudson Division Director. Who here is not an ARRL member? All right, well, we're going to talk afterwards. We may have some incentives for you guys. The league is a very important part of our hobby, and doing some really great things. One of them in particular, which I want to jump the gun and get to right away, is the bill that's in Congress right now for the HOA Act. So I'd like to just play a really quick video on the update. I'm sure Nomar passed around the QR code that everybody can sign to support that act. Do you remember doing so? Yep. All right, let me just play a really quick video.
And I'm sorry that you noticed that my talking is a little bit slow. I just had one of my low blood sugars and I'm still getting back to what should be normal. So please pardon my, slowness, so to call it. But I'm still a little bit oozy. Yeah.
Hey, Nomar or somebody in the who's there, is there a live view of what's going on? All I'm seeing is just the static club logo, or am I just looking at the wrong thing?
That may be the camera.
How about now? Do you see something different on the screen?
I see a what I guess is a video of somebody.
Sure, absolutely. So you're up to date right now.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome. Why is this not playing?
How many amps does it take to play a YouTube video?
Evidently, more than we got sitting on the truth.
Can you hear that in Zoom land?
Very well.
We're having a little technical difficulties.
Very barely.
Can we get volume from mine out to the...
Just take that microphone and put it next to the laptop. Here.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. August, and I'm proud to represent Texas' 11th Congressional District.
You hear that?
I'm honored to serve
Up a
on
bit.
House Speed on HR 1094, the Amateur Radio Emergency.
That's all I got.
Stop it now.
I'm asking you to please keep your momentum going. Continue to call, email, or write your representatives and urge them to support HR 1094. Your outreach makes a difference, and I'm committed to passing this bill. Together, we can ensure that radio remains a reliable backbone of emergency communications in America, and that ham radio operators all across the USA have the support they need to continue serving their communities when it matters most. I know how important you all are during natural disasters and emergencies, which is why I'm here in Washington, D.C. fighting for you. Thank you for your continued support. Let's get this done. Hey everyone, I'm Dr. August.
I didn't understand most of it.
All right, so basically, Congressional Bill 1094 is making its way through Congress. Should be picking up again. It got attached to a large collection of bills that involve all sorts of emergency communications, including some enhanced 911 systems. So all of the work that we've done in supporting this bill, in clicking the little link that was sent around, and getting in touch with our representatives, it's doing great work for us. I think we hand-delivered somewhere around 85,000 letters. So if you clicked on that link, it took you to a website, you filled in your information, and generated a letter. So something like 85,000 letters got delivered to our representatives down in DC. So it's rocking along. We should be hearing something hopefully in the next month or two. And it looks like this is finally going to pass after at least 12 years of various bills that were going in and out of Congress and the House. So Thank you very much for your support on that. Why do I keep hearing an echo? It's driving me nuts. So, do we have any questions about what's going on in Newington, Connecticut? I just came back from the ARRL Board of Directors meeting this past January. Not too much going on down there. We're continuing our fight for education. Education is a very big thing for the league. The league fully supports STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math. We have a very great program called the Teachers Institute for Wireless Technology, which is gaining a lot of steam. TI, as we call it, is a fully donor-funded program that's 4 days long. We bring school teachers in to the league or to a hosted location, and we teach them how to integrate wireless technology into their STEM curriculum. In addition to the wireless technology, such as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, we also do introduce amateur radio. The reason why we don't say amateur radio right away is to get more teachers involved. If you go anywhere and you ask somebody about amateur radio, they kind of think it's an old hobby that's no longer really relevant. So we kind of have to sneak it past them. And that's kind of one of the reasons why there's not too many radio clubs in high schools anymore. Who here in the audience had a radio club in their high school growing up? Anybody? Junior high? So we had a handful of them. There's not too many these days. Ham radio kind of went by the wayside, and the league is fighting very hard to bring that back. We do have 2 model schools in this country for Teachers Institute of Wireless Technology. One of them is in Erie, Pennsylvania. The principal over there, a gentleman named Drew, his students were on the Today Show last February, where they made a contact with the International Space Station. And they got some really good publicity out of that. The Today Show covered them for about 8 minutes on a weekday morning, so I think that was really great. The second school, that's our model school, is not too far from here. It's over in New York. It's in Staten Island. It's the Staten Island Technical High School. That school there is led by a teacher by the name of Everton Henriquez, KD2ZZT. Everton has licensed somewhere in the ballpark of 675 students in the last 20 months. So he's keeping the kids engaged and doing a really great job over there, teaching the kids some sort of basic electronics. A lot of his kids that are involved in the robotics team, in order to be a member of the robotics team, they have to go through and get their amateur radio license. So the kids are really psyched about that. They're keeping themselves busy. They're finding new ways of operating. They're building beams on the roof of the school. They're sneaking up there and they're building beams out of 2x4s and copper wire. So they're doing really amazing stuff. And they're passing the information along to their friends in other schools. Kids who may not have had the opportunity to get a chance to see what amateur radio is all about. And these kids are over there and they're passing the good word. So kids are very excited. Some of the seniors last year, they were doing their college picks based on whether the colleges had a ham radio station or not. So it's really kind of a great dynamic to see going on. Also, the kids, they're eligible for scholarships. So if you have any children, grandchildren, neighbors, cousins, nephews, anything like that, who might be interested in getting a scholarship, all it takes is becoming an amateur radio operator. Last year, I gave a scholarship for $20,000 to a student in Staten Island, and his dad was besides himself. His dad pretty much hugged me and kissed me at the end of the night because his dad didn't know how he was going to get by and make things survive for the family because they had 4 other children. So it's a great opportunity for kids to go forward and get some experience with amateur radio and help them in the workforce moving ahead. So does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff?
Yeah, I just got a kind of question, suggestion.
Sure.
Why don't you bring around the back door to introduce them to amateur radio if they're not too open to amateur radio as you're stating, with some digital modes like WinLink, eComms, HF that they're doing trading stock, mesh core, some of those things that, you know, where they would use amateur radio versus getting them into the hobby right away, where they could see more of the technical use for it. You know, kind of like bring them in on board on that.
All right, so that's a great question. And the reason why we kind of skirt around the amateur radio aspect of it when we go into the schools, because a lot of these school administrators have bad experiences with amateur radio operators throughout the years. So I don't know about here, but I know locally where I'm from, we've had some hams that have gotten thrown out of schools because they wanted to go in and wanted to insist that they were the smartest person in the room. And so one of the things, as hams, we're really not great communicators, so we don't really know how to go and sell it to a school. So we figured here at the league, the best way to doing that was to go after the teachers, and they can have some peer-to-peer training. And as far as you said with MeshCore, Meshtastic, all of that stuff, we do introduce that later on, and that's some of the kids get interested in the, as I call it, the ham radio adjacent hobbies. Am I moving too much here?
No, that's good.
That's good. Did that answer your question, sir?
Yes, again, yeah, because you just want to get people involved. Once they get some form of it, and they get their foot in the door, then they're more open to it. Because it's so diverse. I just was wondering if you had, and obviously you're doing it, introduced them to the other aspects of it, other than, ham radio as the old timer, just chatting on the radio.
Oh no, we definitely don't throw that part of ham radio at them first, and it's definitely the practical applications of ham radio and how they can use it in their education for the most part, how the teachers can use it in their classroom. So I hope that answered your question. Does anybody want to see a slideshow about some of the stuff going on in the STEM developments at the ARRL?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, adjust your camera angle down a little bit for the screen.
You gotta share the screen.
Share that. No more. You're supposed to be my wingman here. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to touch anything either. I got the wrong slide. I apologize. It is.
That's why I don't want to touch it.
Well, you look like you want to give me a hand.
Well, I shut your speaker off.
I don't need the speaker.
Use the slideshow at the top.
All right, so this is about the ARRL's commitment to STEM technologies. And I apologize for this slide because I forgot my thumb drive with the new slide deck at home. But this is a presentation I made at Ham Radio University earlier this year. Well, I'm Ed Wilson. I'm N2XDD. I've been an amateur radio operator for 32, almost 33 years now. I'm a retired NYPD detective. I'm the Hudson Division Director. Vice President of my radio club, Suffolk County Radio Club, about 60 miles east of the New York City line on Long Island. I am a volunteer examiner, an assistant emergency coordinator, and I'm one of the founding members of the Tesla Science Center Amateur Radio Club. It's out in Wading River, New York, and that's the site of Nikola Tesla's last standing laboratory here in the United States. And we're doing a lot of really cool STEM things out that way. Like I said, that was my presentation for Ham Radio University, which is the New York City Long Island section convention. ARRL's mission is to promote and protect the art, science, and enjoyment of amateur radio and to develop the next generation of radio amateurs. Our mission statement, what's changed and why it matters. In 2024, the ARRL Board of Directors approved a new strategic direction that uses both updates our mission and broadens our advocacy. For the first time, developing the next generation of radio amateurs is explicitly part of the ARRL's mission, just not an implied outcome. Also in 2024, the board established student membership. For those under the age of 23, they get free membership minus voting privileges. And after the age of 23, up until the age of, I believe, 27, they are eligible for a half-price membership. So that's some of the cool things that are going on. What does STEM stand for? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. How does that apply to amateur radio? The science part of it, physics and propagation. Technology, digital modes, SDR, satellite work. Engineering, about antenna designs, circuit building. Mathematics, calculating frequencies, wavelength, and signal-to-noise ratio. So they kind of go hand in hand. It's just a matter of somebody taking it, bringing it all together, and presenting it to teachers that they can bring to their classroom. Like I spoke about earlier, this is the Teachers Institute of Wireless Technology. So it's a fully donor-funded program that's all professional development, integrating STEM concepts into the classroom. Teachers Institute Section 1 takes care of a lot of the electronic principles, frequency, propagation, working with small board computers like the Arduino and the Raspberry Pi. Anybody here play with either one of those?
Of course.
Yeah, so really great little computers and learning tools that are relatively cheap. You can go buy a Raspberry Pi for like $15, and it's pretty much, add a couple components to it, and you have a full-blown Linux computer. The teachers leave there after 4 days with over $1,200 worth of materials to bring back to the classroom. These include multiple handheld radios, a multi-mode digital voice modem, a lot of books and electronic kits that they can go out there and they can pass the word of amateur radio onto their classroom. There's some advanced modules going on. We call it continuing education. There's a whole Teachers Institute module on remote sensors. We teach teachers how to go out there, hook up some sensors, do some transmitting of the data received from these sensors, mostly weather sensors through APRS. So we teach the students a little bit about that. Balloons, space balloons, weather balloons, pico balloons, high altitude balloons. The teachers seem to love that. The students seem to love that. If anybody here hasn't played with weather balloons, they're really cool. National Weather Service, at least in New York, they launch 2 balloons a day. Those balloons kind of, if they don't go out into the water, they kind of just pop after they reach a certain altitude and they fall back to the ground. Back home, we have a couple of guys on our radio club that go out and they chase the balloons, kind of like direction finding. They recover these said balloons and they're able to reflash the firmware of the balloons to get them to operate onto the 70 centimeter amateur band. So the teachers seem to love that. 2 new ones coming up, the space communications, and that's all about satellite work. And the other one I'm kind of happy about and very excited for is the cybersecurity, which is a work in progress. We're trying to integrate a lot of the computer sciences with amateur radio to help the kids get a background where they can go into the job market, hopefully, in the computer sciences and computer security in particular. So trying very much to help promote education and the future of the workforce here. So, like I said earlier, this is our model school. This is Drew AC3DS. He's got over 40 students licensed. They had that contact with the International Space Station. The kids are now working on an Earth-Moon-Earth station on the roof of their school in Erie, Pennsylvania. So that's really exciting. Here's our school in Staten Island. These kids, WS1THS, that's their club station. This slide's a little bit old. It had 600 plus students. I just went there about 3 weeks ago and we licensed another 140 students. So we are over 700 and I didn't realize that. And the kids are all very excited about this. So here's some of the scholarship numbers that the league has paid out over the last 5 or 6 years. 2022, they had almost $1 million. 2025, 800,000. In 2026, I heard the number is about 1.2 million of scholarships that's going out there to high school and college amateur radio operators. So, and I said I presented the check to our student. It's got the big game show check there, so he was very excited about that. Some of the resources available for the teachers when they leave Teachers Institute. They have lesson plans that go along with the curriculum that we teach. They get to leave that with that. They're also required to create their own lesson plans. So we have a repository of 150 different lesson plans created by teachers that already went through Teachers Institute that they're able to share throughout the nation with other teachers. We're also working on, and it's currently under testing right now, is a full standards-based STEM curriculum integrating amateur radio for grades 6th through 8th grade. So the ARRL Board of Directors, we approved that purchase last year, and that was about $120,000 to help promote our hobby and the future of it there. What else do we have here? The ARRL Learning Center. If you're an ARRL member, you have access to that. The teachers also have access to that. There's some really great talks on there. And the talks go from anywhere from how to program your new handheld to how to use 3D printing in amateur radio. We also have a partnership with ARIS, Amateur Radio and the International Space Station, where we go and we set up talks. And I believe you guys have hosted a talk or two in the past. Three talks with the local high school.
One in Fairlawn and Paris City Wayne.
So 3 of the local high schools, Fairlawn hosted the ISS contact for us, so thank you very much for that. We also have the Collegiate Amateur Radio Program, where we have some of the top colleges throughout the United States. The students, they all get together, they have a monthly Zoom meeting where they get and share ideas, and they have some really friendly rivalries. Some of the schools have a really big chess over the air rivalry that goes on. So you may catch that every now and then. They'll be giving their chess notations over the air, and you'll be wondering what the heck B1 to C3 is or whatever like that. I don't play chess, so I don't know. And we're also updated scouting badge. So the ARRL has a partnership with the Girl Scouts of America, and they've helped develop the wireless technology badge for the Girl Scouts. So now I know you're saying, what can this just passed? This was one of the other things that the board passed, and the competition was just over. It ran from the beginning of the year to a couple days ago, and it was a coding competition with $25,000 in prize money. And the league had it opened up to high school and college kids with the mission of programming a app for your phone to help new hams study, or aspiring hams to study. So I will. I'm waiting this because I am on the judging committee for this, so I'm trying to see what really cool things came out of this. I'm very much looking forward to this. How do you get involved? If you're, this is of interest of you, or it's a passion like it is to me, make a contribution to the ARRL through the Diamond Fund for the Education. Money like this gets sent towards Teachers Institute. It costs us somewhere around, I think it's $3,300 per seat per teacher that comes in through the Teachers Institute. So we think we're going to run 16 classes this year, 16 different Teachers Institutes with an average seating of about 15 plus. So the money does add up, and like I said, it's donor funded. If it's something that you think you would like to support, please feel free to give money through the Diamond Club. What else can you do to get involved? You can become a mentor to a teacher. If you have a local teacher that you think might be involved in bringing amateur radio into their classroom, feel free to see me after the presentation. I'll give you some information. And if we think we can get something going with one of the local school districts where we can fill 10 to 15 seats, possibly we can bring a Teachers Institute hosted by Flark next year into the local area. Also, well, I don't know, if you have any teachers that are New York based, feel free to reach out to me, because my club, we're hosting one at Stony Brook University in August. So we're looking to fill some seats there. Help build a strong club. That's something you could do to help this. A lot of the teachers coming into this are very new to amateur radio. They don't have any ties to amateur radio. So a lot of times they reach out to the local club. And it takes a lot for the local club to be able to support the students. So that's why it's very important, especially now during the year of the club, to have a strong club. Maintain an open mind. The hobby has changed over 10 times since you were first licensed. If you do get involved with one of these schools or some of the newer hands coming in through non-conventional methods, you kind of have to be open-minded to some of the things they're interested in because they're not the same things that you learned when you first became an amateur radio operator. And what does that mean? That means no mode shaming. FT8 is real ham radio. DMR is real ham radio. All of that stuff that you think might not be real ham radio is real ham radio. And it's of interest to not only younger hams, but the newer hams. The 30 to 50-year-old ham radio operators who most of the clubs seem to be lacking. They can't seem to secure that 30 to 50-year-old group. And why do they like things like DMR and FT8? Because it's quick. They can put the kids to bed, they can help the wives finish up cleaning up after dinner, and they can go sit at the computer for a few minutes and they can go and make some contacts on FT8. So, and most importantly, that last one right there, don't be a sad ham. And that goes back to the mode shaming, the equipment shaming. These people coming in, how about that?
Test, test, test. Test, test, test. No.
The fuzzy one works better.
All right. Sorry about the scratchiness. Don't be a sad ham. Encourage some of the exploration. Find that new ham that's coming into your club. Find that new student. Further away. How's that? That's better? Yeah. Doesn't seem better. Okay. Sorry about that. I really don't. But for the
Yeah,
people
off the
online,
beard.
Find that new ham. See what interests them. Maybe you don't know something about it. Maybe you can help them learn and you can help them navigate that world of whatever it might be. One of these crazy new digital modes or setting up a MMDVM hotspot. Don't be afraid to, maybe they could be your mentor with some of the newer technology out there. Maybe you can share the information amongst yourselves. So that's all I really have about this topic. If anybody has any other questions, I'll be more than happy to take them now, either in the Zoom land or anybody here? Live? Bueller? So when our students go through and they become licensed, one of the first things that we encourage is we encourage them to fill out their QRZ page. And they use their QRZ page as a diary, pretty much. And we tell them anything new that they're doing in amateur radio, document it onto QRZ. So they fill out an application for the scholarship, which is available online. They pick 3 to 5 people who would be willing to write a letter of recommendation for them. They submit it, and it goes through the ARRL Foundation. So the foundation board will sit down and they'll review all of these applications for the scholarships. And the first thing that they do is they run the student's name, their student's call sign, in QRZ to see if there's anything there. Yes, sir.
Just to let you know, we have a member of FARC, Charlie Ford, Fox Delta, Randy. His daughter was also a member, both members of FARC. She submitted her application for the scholarship, and she, a few weeks ago, she was already interviewed. So we're waiting to see if she gets it.
Well, good luck to her. So going back to QRZ, one of my complaints as a ham radio operator is putting the call sign in QRZ and seeing a blank page. I don't know why it's a pet peeve of mine. I think we should all have a little something in our QRZ page. And I mentioned this at a talk I did about Teachers Institute, and there was a teacher in the room, and the teacher said, that's the #1 complaint of the students. When the students are operating their station at the school, they hear a call sign, they put the call sign into QRZ, and they come up with a blank page, and they kind of get frustrated because they don't really know how to start a conversation with somebody. But if they see a fully filled out, or at least a paragraph about yourself, about your station, perhaps about your profession, the kids have something to start a conversation over. So I recommend not only to appease me and my little my little pet peeve, put a little something in your QRZ page. At the very least, maybe put down that you're a member of FLARC or whatever radio club you belong to. Put some sort of a link to the club website, because when the new hams are out there, they're running your call sign. They're going to put your call sign in QRZ, especially if it's a brand new ham. They're going to say that, oh, I'm a member of the Fairlawn Amateur Radio Club. You know what? They're going to click on that because chances are they don't have a radio club in mind. So you're also helping promote the club.
Ed,
Yes, sir.
along that line, I think along that line.
Along that line.
Along that line, VEs, when they're giving the tests, should
Who's our VE coordinator in the room?
listen, well, our club doesn't, but VEs in general should be instructed to tell their test candidates about QRZ and the fact that they get a free page as soon as their call is issued.
There's a couple of clubs who actually put together a package, and they hand it to their people taking the test.
This is one.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, there's a lot of empty QRZ pages that are new calls that apparently don't even know that they have a QRZ.
You know what? That's a great idea, and I'm going to pass that along, and we're going to use that at our club. And you guys have a package that you hand out?
Yes.
That's awesome. Before I leave, if I can you have a package here, I'd love to take one with me.
CG.
Gene, thank you. So one of the things that we do at our club during our VE session is as soon as they pass the test, the very next morning, our club secretary will generate a very nice email to the new candidate, welcoming them to amateur radio, giving them some of the local frequencies of the repeaters and a choice of different radio clubs that are out there that they might want to join. We do promote other radio clubs within our area. We don't necessarily get it reciprocated back, but a lot of the people going out, they'll go to some of the other radio clubs and they wind up back at our club. Go ahead, Gene.
Comment. I've been around 20 years already, and I belong to a lot of clubs. The problem is that we don't like to recommend other clubs because we don't know what that club is doing and how they operate. And if we send somebody there and they get stuck, they don't want, the old people don't accept them, then they get a bad take. I would rather have that person try and come to our club only to eliminate that possibility.
So, Gene, that's a great point, and I don't recommend just any old radio club. There are a couple of radio clubs where I'm from that I wouldn't recommend a new ham to go to. So I have the opportunity, being the director, I get to visit a lot of clubs, and I get to see how the club treats me when I walk in the room. I get to see how the club treats a new person, a young person walking in the room, a female walking in the room, and those are the clubs that I don't recommend. I have one particular club, they invite me to their January meeting. Since I've been vice director for the last 3 years, I've been going to their January meeting. And they always want to know what happened in the boardroom. So I tell them what happened in the boardroom. And then they ask me, they say, Ed, you're involved in your radio club. You've been the vice president for the last 7 years. When you became vice president, you had 20 members. Now you're up to 170 members. What is your secret? And I said, it's no secret. This is what we do at our radio club. This is how we grow our club. This is how we maintain our club. And I give them the ideas. And they look me straight in the eye and they say, well, that'll never work. And I'm like, well, you just asked me what we're doing. There's no secret. I'm telling you exactly what we're doing. And we're doing little things. First and foremost, we're building a community. I'm building the radio club that I'm proud to be a member of. And I just had this conversation last night. Last night we ran a VE session. And we only had one candidate who was a club member in the room. And we had a couple new VEs with us. And we had a member from another radio club came by. And that was a club that I used to be a member of. And this year I decided not to renew my membership with them because their values didn't align to mine. I've been in that room where they ignored the new ham. I've been in that room where one of their old timers yelled at a new ham for using FT8, and they told the kid, this old timer told the kid, FT8 is not real ham radio. And the club just kind of sat around and laughed. And it wasn't a joke. The old timer was serious. The kid was kind of stunned, like, I'm 21 years old, I'm joining your club, and you're not encouraging me. So we had the conversation last night, and it comes down to the fact that we're a little weird as amateur radio operators. We all have a little bit of some sort of social anxiety, for the most part. To get a new ham who has some sort of social anxiety to come into a room with complete strangers and try and make friends, for that person to be ignored, not even acknowledged, that's going to affect that person. That's going to affect that person's outlook on amateur radio and on radio clubs. That right there will probably set the person back. That person will probably never step foot back in your club. And I know there are plenty of clubs like that. That as communicators, we're really crappy communicators. We don't know how to have an eyeball conversation, especially with a new person or a new ham. So that's something that we have to work on as amateur radio operators. We have to learn how to encourage the new radio operators, how to build our club, how to invite them in. So one of the other things we're doing, I said we grew our club to 170 members or so. We're going out there and we're actually realizing that amateur radio is a little bit more than amateur radio. There are a lot of amateur radio adjacent hobbies that probably have ham radio people in it that had a bad experience previously at a club and chose not to go back to the club scene. One of the groups that we explore is the local Linux users group. Linux is a computer operating system with a bunch of nerdy people, just as nerdy as ham radio operators. We went to the local Linux users group meeting a year back because a friend of ours was doing a presentation on SDR radio, and just talking to people in the room. I think there was 15 or 18 people in the room that night, and there was 12 ham radio operators in the room, not including myself. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, I've been around radio on Long Island for 30 years. I don't recognize any of you from any of the clubs. And they all pretty much had the same story. I walked into a club 5 years ago, I walked into a club 8 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever the time frame was. They walked into that club looking to do something cool with amateur radio, maybe getting Linux involved with it, maybe using some of the digital modes, some of the open source programs, and somebody shot them down. People weren't interested and said, we're not that type of club. We don't do that. We do contesting, or we just do DXing, or we chase these rare entities. But those are the clubs that aren't going to be successful in another few years because the folks that are into that type of thing are getting a little bit long in the tooth, getting a little bit more gray hairs out there. So in addition to the Linux users group, we're going out there to the maker community. Well, some people are losing their hair too, Gene. We're going out to the maker community, the hacker communities. We're going out, we're following the people that are into 3D printing. And we're showing them all the great stuff that we print as a club. We have a 3D printer or two inside the clubhouse, and we're printing parts for our projects. If we're going to build a Yagi made out of PVC and tape measure, we're printing some of the holders for the elements. So, and we go to maker fairs, the local maker fairs, where people demonstrate and they have all of their demonstrations out there, and people walking by and they're saying, oh, you're a bunch of ham radio operators. What is ham radio? Oh, wait, you guys are doing 3D printing too? So we're kind of opening up our avenues of gaining members and keeping those members. The hacker community, computer hackers, there are a lot of people in that world that are amateur radio operators, a lot of people that are, as I call it, RF curious. They do a lot of really cool things with amateur radio, well, with radio in general. And a lot of them obtain the amateur extra license just so they have that bragging right of what they can do. The term hacker gets a lot of bad press. But as far as I'm concerned, we are the original hackers. If you ask the people from MIT, they're going to give you a different story. But as far as I'm concerned, that SparkGap machine up in Newington, Connecticut, that doesn't say Biofang on the side of it. It doesn't say ICOM or Kenwood. that was hacked together with a bunch of automobile parts and some other pieces of machinery. So I mentioned MIT. The people at MIT actually coined the term hacker somewhere in the 50s, and that came from their model railroad club. So the enthusiastic model railroaders at MIT were the original hackers, and it just kind of evolved into a person that's curious, curiosity, the desire to want to know and to figure out how things work. And I think that pretty much describes everyone in this room. If you don't have that curiosity or desire to learn or want to learn, maybe you're really not a ham. I'm not sure about that. So, how's the club health? Yeah.
Honestly, I would say that we are doing well. This is a club that we value our members. We value what we do. We take pride in what we do. As in every club, we have full participation of everybody, but we have a steady group of members that are always around, that are always there. And you have mentioned something that I consider it to be very important, and it's the engagement with the new members. And I believe we're quite healthy with that. We have a great group of our everyday members. We have Steve, we have Gene, we have Skip, basically everybody that's here. We value our new members because I know what it is to go to a club like you have probably done, and you see people that are not engaging, not even with the people that they've known for 20 years. They just go, sit down, and leave, and they don't even say hello. That happens a lot, but that's the minimum amount. And one of the reasons I became a member of Clark, I would say almost a decade ago, was I just walked in and everybody was, very welcoming. And that's what we have to promote. Because trust me, like you just said, oh, we shouldn't be doing this, or when I started, they do it in such a way that they're going to lure away people. And that's not what we need. And especially in a hobby like this one, like you mentioned at the beginning of your talk, this is your grandfather's hobby. No, we evolve with time. I've been lucky to be at him almost 50 years, and I see how it has evolved, and everything is radio. So we just have to keep that. But very importantly, let's embrace those that are starting now, because when we're not here anymore, they're the ones that want to keep the torch going.
Yeah, that's exactly my sentiment. Last night at our VE session, we have a relatively new member. He was taking his upgrade, and I guess he joined about 2 months ago. Took his general last night. And, he's new to the country. He's a Brazilian young guy. Very heavy accent. He's only here in the States like 2 years, I think. And we were just talking, and he said, I was very shocked about how welcome you guys made me feel. Because I thought I would have an issue because my English isn't too great. I speak with an accent. And he goes, the first thing you did when I walked into this room to take my first test is you introduced me to everybody. We do that during the VE session. I'm going to introduce my candidates to everybody that's in the room, all of our VEs. Afterwards, I tell them, listen, you can leave if you want, but hang out, wait till the last person's done taking the test, sit around the table. And we sit around the table, and I'll interview them. I'll give them a little basic interview. Maybe that's the detective in me. Maybe it's an interrogation. But a new person comes into my clubhouse, our clubhouse, I should say. I ask him a couple basic questions, usually 3 questions. The first one is, what got you into amateur radio? And especially if it's somebody in that golden 30 to 50-year-old range. What got you into radio? And I'm kind of curious about the answers that I get. And whether it's like, oh, it's something I always wanted to do. I'm interested in Morse code. I remember as being a kid, my grandfather was a ham radio operator. Or I'm interested in doing emergency communications or satellite work or whatever it might be. That's usually the first question. The second question I ask them is, well, what is it that you want to accomplish in amateur radio? Is there a particular mode you want to work? Is there something you want to do? Or you want to do direction finding? You want to do Earth, Moon, Earth? You You want to learn CW? What do you want to do? I get that answer. And the last question is, what do you do for a living? What's your profession? And usually between those three questions, I get those three answers, I'm able to link them up with somebody in the room. Somebody who's interested in Earth, Moon, Earth, or somebody who's also an electrician, or a nurse, or a paramedic, or whatever profession that person's with. So automatically, they leave that meeting knowing somebody with very similar interests to them, not only amateur radio. And that effort has seemed to really help us grow as a club. We've had people in the room together that worked for the same company in different offices, across the neighborhood, not realizing they were both hams. People who worked on the same project together, remotely. So it's kind of very important to go out there and engage these people. Because, like I said, there's a lot of social anxiety within our hobby. People are afraid to go out there and to make friends, don't necessarily know how. And to walk into a room of strangers and to leave without saying hello and somebody saying hello to you, it's very disheartening. And I've had it happen to me, walking into a club meeting, and even with this red badge on around my neck, I mean, obviously you would know that I'm somebody of importance, that I have a red badge. I don't think I'm anybody important, but I'm somebody that I have this red badge, and for a club officer not even to say hello or to acknowledge, kind of like, well, how is your club still in existence? How are you gaining new members if you can't say hello to me, who I'm supposed to be somebody? How are you not going up to the new person and engaging them? I don't understand it, and it's very frustrating for that to happen, and it still happens. There are clubs out there that don't talk to new people, or will talk through a person because a person's a female. You want to talk to Nicole later on a break, and you can see some of the interactions she's had with clubs. That because she's a female, she can't be a ham. You got to see when she got her 2x2 when she passed her extra. And one of the old guys was like, "How the hell did you get that 2x2 call sign?" And she's like, "What do you mean? Why do you have that call sign?" She's like, "It's my call sign. It was issued to me. You can't have that call sign. Why can't I have that call sign? You have a 2x2. Well, I'm an extra." Well, exactly. Exactly. I was there when there was engagement of one talking to the other about broads being on 20 meters. The other one, there are chicks on ham radio? So, I don't know. The ham radio operator of today is a lot different than the ham radio operator of yesteryear. And I think we really need to figure out what we're doing as amateur radio operators to bring these people into the fold, to make them feel welcome, and to help grow our club.
Oh, Ruben. And you made him sit down at the radio. And you didn't just sit there and make contact. You said, "Here, this is what you do." And that is so important because nobody ever shows us what we're supposed to do. We take tests, we learn, we see everybody doing it, but it's terrifying.
You stand up for a second?
No. It's literally terrifying for one of us to have to figure out what button we hit, what we're supposed to say, how long are we supposed to say it for, and you sat there and you coached him patiently. I heard you from the other room, and you just took your time, and it's huge.
But you know what?
It's huge.
You know what's the thing, Nicole? And many of the guys and gals here at the club have heard me say this. I'm in a process of still, after almost 50 years, of passing it forward. Because when I started in the hobby, I was blessed with a lot of people that saw this 11-year-old kid, into ham radio. What is this? This guy doesn't even know how to wipe his face. And he already has a license. And when I got my extra 13, something like that. You have a 2x1? pushing me down, they extended their hand. And to this day, I try to do that the best that I can. And that's the mentality that we should have. Because as other organizations that I belong to, which have converted me, are a part of my life, this is my life. Share the passion with those next to you. Even if it's a 50-year-old ham to a newbie. We have to, it's a lot of, what you do with your head to help these people, or just push them away.
I'm going to tell you, I'm very jealous of the setup that Clark has here.
Excuse me, and so that you know, I know we've extended more than, but I think it's been a great conversation.
Give me 2 minutes and I'm going to wrap this up.
Take the full 5.
All right. I know Gene's in a rush. He wants to get this business meeting. We have to check the books, see how much money is going in there.
Let's spend some money, we make some money.
Yeah, but you guys have a very unique opportunity where you have, is there 5 operating stations?
Yes.
Here within your clubhouse. I would kill for that. I think most clubs would kill for that. You have the unique opportunity to bring people back in and to show them, how to make their first contact.
4 of them are HF, well, there's 5 HF stations. 4 of them are CW and phone. We have 1 station, number 2, which is dedicated to digital modes.
Very nice.
Only.
Very nice.
And if anybody touches it, Jim has permission to kill it.
So back in our local radio club, we just started our Friday night tech night. So the first Friday of the month is our tech night at the clubhouse. And I'm here with you guys. And this was my brainchild, but I'm here with Eugene. I'm missing our second tech night. So our first tech night, we had 40 some odd people in the room, just came on a Friday night, bringing some of the projects they were working on, bringing some of the things that they were interested in, just bringing their curiosity. We had, from what I was told, there was a table that was doing mesh casting stuff. There was another group of guys doing WinLink. There was another group of people doing SDR radio stuff, software-defined radio, these little $35 dongles that you could buy on Amazon. Listening to some really cool stuff that's not amateur radio. Checking out the tire pressure sensors out in the parking lot. Checking out the water meter from our clubhouse. All sorts of weird things that some of the new hams, they're into that. They're into, as I call it, they're RF curious. We have our new club president has been around RF for a very long time. He did research and development for a soda company when the soda companies were bringing out these Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and NFC-enabled vending machines. So that's where he broke his ground with RF. And when I met him, and I saw what he was into in RF, and I tried to convert him right away. I was like, hey, if you're into all this stuff, you're going to love ham radio. And he goes, I'm 42. What am I going to do with ham radio? That's a bunch of cranky old people. I want nothing to do with that. He's now the club president after being a ham for a little over a year. Probably one of the most active members of the club. He keeps the repeaters warm. He makes sure that his call sign's out there, and he works from home. The radio is on in his house, in his office the entire day. If he hears a call sign out there, he'll answer it, even if it's just a brief 30-second conversation, saying, yes, I hear you throwing your call sign out, you sound like a new ham, welcome. I'm off for work at 3 o'clock, please come back onto the frequency, I'll talk to you. So, I mentioned one other thing earlier. I mentioned that we build a community. We're building a community that's not always amateur radio related, because we learned that for a group of people with this social anxiety, we do want the friendship, we do want that camaraderie. And what we've been doing is the ham and eggs. We meet for breakfast once a month. And last year, I was up with a radio club in Warren County. Warren County Amateur Radio Club, Warren County, New York. They're around the Lake George area. They're pretty far up there. They have a 30-year-old president. His name is Adam. He's the assistant section manager in Eastern New York. And I really liked what they were doing up there. And Adam and I became very good friends. And I said, Adam, you have the most amazing club. You guys are always doing things together. And he goes, Ed, I almost feel insulted when you say I have an amazing club, because to me, I have an amazing family. This is my family. And their dynamic up there is they'll just randomly, you know, once a month they'll have a potluck meetup at the local firehouse. During the summer, you know, they'll have a pool party at somebody's house. And during the warmer months, they started doing something called the ice cream social, which the second Thursday a month, they get together at the local ice cream shop, and the hams will bring their spouses, they'll bring their kids, they'll bring their grandkids, they'll bring their neighbor who's interested in the radio. And they just kind of all get around, and they just hang out. They'll have HTs, they'll have a talking channel to bring people in, and they just enjoy each other's company. And I said, you know what? I said, this is a really great idea. I said, considering our call sign, our club call sign is W2DQ, Whiskey 2 Delta Quebec, or Went to Dairy Queen. So we had the local Dairy Queen, and we said, hey, let's have this ice cream social. We're going to replicate what they're doing. So we met up at the local Dairy Queen. It was a random Friday night. We set it out into our newsletter. We said, hey, we're all going to meet for ice cream. Bring your spouses, your kids, your grandkids. Bring whoever you want. Let's have a good time. So Dustin, who's our club president, the new ham, who wasn't the president at the time, the guy who keeps our repeaters warm, he said, hey, do you mind if I run an ice cream net? I said, ice cream net? He goes, yeah, I'll just take check-ins. I'll see who's coming in. I said, yeah, knock yourself out. The repeater needs to keep warm. So he goes out there, he starts the net, and he's taking call signs. I'm taking call signs. So he acknowledges the first 5 people. And then he goes back and calls back on them, and he goes, all right, you know, are you coming tonight? Yes. If you are coming, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? So everybody checking in eventually gave their call sign, their name, and their favorite flavor of ice cream. Fast forward, we walk inside Dairy Queen. There was 45 of us inside Dairy Queen on a Thursday night. The manager came up to me and she goes, you look like you're somebody that's in charge. I said, not really, but what can I do for you? She goes, who the heck are you guys? She goes, if you're going to do this again, please let me know. Here's my card, here's my phone number. Just call me up so I can make sure we have more people that are working. So Thursday nights at Dairy Queen during the warmer months have been our go-to. We call up the manager. She makes sure she has extra people there for us. I told you it would be 5 minutes, and Gene, I tell a lot of lies. It has something to do with me being a detective, but that's another story. 2 months after our first ice cream social, I get a phone call from club secretary from an adjoining club, a local club, and he wanted to ask me something about the ARRL. So I gave him his answer, and he goes, Ed, I need to talk to you about 2 things that's very serious and it pertains to your club. I said, okay. I said, what do you got? He goes, well, the first thing is I got a complaint about Nicole's newsletter. So I said, you know what? Let's hold that one because that one's probably going to make me angry. I said, what's your other complaint? And he goes, well, I was listening to your frequency about a month or 2 back, and you had somebody on the air running a net, and you guys called it the ice cream net. And this guy was asking people what their favorite flavor of ice cream was. And he goes, that's the most ridiculous thing I heard. You guys sounded unprofessional. He goes, who gives a crap about what somebody's favorite flavor of ice cream was? And I said, let me tell you something. I said, I listen to your club net. You have 10 people checking into your club net on a good night. We had 35 people checking into our ice cream net. And I said, what really makes me mad about this whole thing is you sat there and you listened to the entire thing and you couldn't even check in. I said, you're an angry man. I said, let's go on to the next topic. And he goes, well, Nicole writes these great newsletters. They're very lengthy. They have a lot of information. You tell us what's going on in not only your club, in amateur radio. You suggest videos that new hams might want to watch. You give information about surrounding clubs when their nets might be. But Nicole keeps throwing this term around it. I don't like it. He goes, and maybe I don't like it because I don't understand it. I said, okay, what's that term? And he goes, sad ham. I said, well, this is an easy one. I'll tell you exactly what a sad ham is. A sad ham is a person that would complain that a repeater is in use and getting used, and we're talking about somebody's favorite flavor of ice cream. That's what a sad ham is. And he had some not so nice words to me, and he hung up and called me a jerk. So, again, don't be a sad ham. Have fun. Use the repeaters. Use the airwaves.
I love it.
Use them. Use them. We have one of our more active board members just got a laser engraver, and he made these metal business cards of a sad ham, a big ham with a sad face. He gets a sad ham card, so. But that's all I have. Gene wants to get going. If anybody has any questions, I'll be okay to take them right now. So why are you busting my horns? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, you mentioned that you mentioned that you wanted to talk to people about if they weren't a member of the ARRL. So is there any way to, when registering online, is there any way to refer a club? Or...
Yeah, so that's a great point. It's Henry?
Henry, yes.
Henry, thank you for that. So one of the things that the ARRL is doing is they have the club commission program. So clubs will take renewals or new ARRL membership. I have membership forms up here. You fill it out, you give your payment to the club will compile them, and maybe once every couple of weeks or once a month or once a quarter, the club will mail in or email in all the applications and the money to the league. And for a new member, the club gets $20. For a renewing member, the club gets $5. So, and we usually have some sort of special incentive that goes along with it. So, if you want to be the test case and join the club, join the ARRL, we can start the club commission program going for the club.
I've done it already.
All right, so what are we waiting for? Why isn't this guy, sign this guy up? Yes, sir.
We had that, and it turned out to be too complicated.
Okay, let's talk about that, because I'm going to help you streamline it.
For $5, it wasn't worth the effort.
You know what? I'm going to have to stick around and listen to the business meeting, because I'm kind of curious how much money you guys have in the books. $5 is $5, but you're helping. No? How about $20? How about for the new members?
We had 15 and 20 of them.
I totally disagree with that. And I think that it's a great program. It shows that the club is doing something. The club's promoting the league.
For one thing, you just made a comment. Maybe every month the club will send in all of these things.
Yes.
That means that the person who wants to join the ARRL isn't a member for another month or so.
So I think the person would be okay with that, considering that they're helping the club get some extra funds.
If the club is really, really, really needed.
I don't think it's really about needing the money from the clubs. It's more about promoting the league and helping the league continue to grow.
We promote the league. In fact, I have a perfect example. Last Friday night, we had one of our newer members. He was from Romania. And he wanted to get into FTA, so I signed with him. We went through that. And then we wanted to do the upload to the blogs, LPW. And in the course of that, I asked him if he was a league member. And he said, well, no, I was going to do this thing with the club and everything. In 5 minutes, we signed him up for a 3-year membership online, like that, and he was very, very happy.
Well, I'm sure you could streamline it. So what we do is we have a club credit card on file. So if I get 3 new memberships, I scan them and I email them up to member services. And then I tell them, just build a card that's on file. I don't have to write a check. I'll collect the money, or if the person wants to put a credit card information on the actual form, all you got to do is scan it, save it in your email, and shred it. you have money I can borrow or something? I mean, $5 is $5. Have you seen the price of gas? But
Could you get like on the sign, you know, the website, and maybe we could have a little box check off.
we're working.
Or something like that.
Yeah, so we're working on that actually. That's something that myself and a few of the directors are working on.
Part of the problem that we're encountering here.
Yeah, I don't think that's the end of the world with having to go a couple of extra steps. And then, I mean, at the end of the day, the league's going to see, hey, Flock, you know, they put through 20 new members this year, and, you know, the renewals, it kind of looks good. So we can, yeah. But any other questions? Henry, you see me afterwards. We'll get you some information, and we'll get you a free gift if you want to sign up. Questions? Anybody?
We promote the league.
No, I'm not saying you don't. We just
found that it was not worth $5.
I don't really think it's jumping hoops, but that's okay. I'm not taking care of your books or anything like that. I know that our club members are very excited about it, and they look forward to renewing it through the club because they feel like that's a little something extra that they're giving back to the club. Even though it's only $5, they're feeling like they're doing something to help the club out.
I just feel like they're getting paid.
Well, okay. We can debate that later on. Yes, sir.
So,
Steve, right?
Right. So I just re-upped for 3 years.
Yes, sir.
I didn't want to wait because I don't want to miss my QSD. That's important.
Okay. 3 years plus the magazine?
I paid the ransom for the QSD.
Have you seen the price of postage?
If there was, I'm going to hold my tongue on that one. If there was a box to check my club, you know, affiliated club, and I could have put Fairlawn Amateur Radio Club in on the application, it would have been done.
So this is something that we're actually working on, myself and Scott Yonley, and one of the new directors. Each club, each affiliated ARRL club has a 5 or 6 digit number. And I wasn't even aware of this. So we're going to figure out if we can do it online and have a drop-down menu where you can pick Fairlawn Amateur Radio Club with that number, or have that number available that at your VE sessions or at your monthly meetings, you can say here, or you can have pre-filled out forms with that number on there. So then...
I did it once, but I just put the club name on the
so,
that was it.
Did you get your mug?
Not yet.
All right.
I just read.
Okay. If you don't get your mug, reach out to me and we'll make sure you get 2.
Thanks.
All right. I think I'm done here unless somebody has some questions.
I had a follow-up on that.
Yes, sir.
That comment said that would be a perfect way to do it. Is if somebody from the club renews their league membership, clicks off their club name, and the league rebates the club.
So the comments coming out of my mouth tonight are solely mine and do not necessarily reflect those of the ARRL. Have you seen the computer systems going on at the league? It takes a little bit extra to get any sort of IT work done. So we just started speaking about that, and
See, now I was complaining about the complication on our side. Now you're complaining about the complication.
there's all the complications, but I think the club side is easier, but we can definitely talk about that. And I would love to see just go online and click it. I don't want to deal with anybody's extra money. But if it's helping the club, if it's helping that person feel that they're helping the club, it's a couple little extra steps for us. A lot of people have just been giving us the credit card information. We have a scanner on the club. I'll scan it in and shred it immediately. It's in my email, and I'll handle emailing all the stuff out. So the league member services has our information on file. Like I said, they have our credit card information on file, and they have our bank account information on file. So most of the time, it just comes in through a direct deposit. It's withdrawing through our credit card. We'll make the deposit when we get to the bank, and then 2-3 weeks later, we'll get that direct deposit from the league. So. We'll talk later. Anybody else? Any questions? Well, I want to thank everybody for having me here tonight. It was a pleasure visiting the club and speaking to everybody. No more? Back over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate you being here
My assistant.
your assistant and your scheduling officer. So definitely, but thank you for being here. Thank you for the support that you have. And guys, remember, you have a little advantage over something. Not only the relationship that we have with Ed, but I'm also your section manager as well. So anything regarding ARRL, you could always discuss it with me as well.
And no more like we speak at least once a week.
And we are always in communication. There's a lot of things going on that I would like to bring here, but I need your support as well. I know I have his, and it is it's a great partnership. I wanted to become them after, because of my personal issues, I stepped down as director, but at the same time, being a section manager allows me to work closely with clubs in a more one-on-one basis. So it's a good relationship. It's a good, we have great synergy, and we want to not make it only better for ARRL, but for our individual clubs as well. Stay here with us. Okay.